Wow. What a great full house. If anybody has any chairs that match ours, bring them. And until we find our new larger space, we might just have to put a few more chairs in here. But it is so good to see you all. Yes. But I can't start my message quite yet because this week has been a heavy, heavy week on my soul. It's been an amazing week on my soul. A couple of things have really, really touched me. The first thing is, I don't know if any of you know Shima. I don't see her here this morning, and usually when she comes, she slips out pretty quick. But she became a citizen this week. And yes, And so I got to go to her citizenship ceremony, and it was so rich just seeing all of the excitement. There were 50 new citizens from, it was either 22 or 28 different countries. And to see the enthusiasm, to see how excited they were. And one of the things that happened was that at the end, as they walked out the door, they were able to register to vote.
Oh, wow.
And those folks were so excited about voting. And so that just really touched my heart. But then, of course, my heart has been also touched by the tragedies that have happened, by the way there has been divisiveness in our country, and with the shootings in Pittsburgh at I believe it's the Tree of Life congregation, which I thought was interesting since we have this new Tree of Life here. So I'd like to just, as you glance at this tree during this service, keep those people in mind, because it's not just people who are individually affected. It affects all of us. When we have tragedies and shootings that involve hate, then we know that it's not just the individuals that are involved, but we all are, in a sense, responsible, and we all respond. We are responsible in that we do respond. So our hearts go out to them. Our hearts go out to the people in the community in Kentucky where someone tried to get into the black church and it was locked, so they went to the grocery store and killed several African Americans. So our hearts full. And Park, I loved your song. You are the one that creates your life, and we are the ones that create our life as a community, as a nation, as a world. And it is our absolute honor and responsibility to be able to hold the highest good, to know truth, to remember that hate comes from fear. Always, hate comes from fear. And we counteract that with our love, with our caring, wrapping our energy around all of the people from Congregation Tree of Life. Okay, so I had to cut out some of my message, but it's important. Oh, speaking of voting, though, ministers can't tell you who to vote for as far as any candidates, but it's perfectly fine for us to share our thoughts about issues. Now, I belong to Together Colorado, which is a group of faith leaders all around the state. We have a group in Boulder County, and there are groups all around the state. They have studied some issues, and two of the issues that they have studied and that I feel very strongly about are Initiative 126, which is caps the payday loan interest and fees that can be charged. At this point, it is legal for people who get payday loans to be charged even a little over 200% by the time you figure fees and stuff like that. A number of states are capping that, and Colorado wants to cap it at 36%, which is still a pretty high interest rate. So I encourage you to vote for issue 126, the payday loans. And then also, Amendment A will remove slavery from the Colorado Constitution. Does that sound like a good idea or what? You know, it's kind of a no-brainer. The legislature is entirely behind it, and so I encourage you to vote to end slavery in Colorado. Okay. Our October theme is prosperity, abundance, and wealth. So what do you say? Do you like the idea of living a life of more prosperity and abundance and wealth?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I have some advice for you. And the advice just happens to be the title of the talk today. The advice is stay open to receive. Stay open to receive. We actually get a lot of information about how important it is to give, but you know, that's only part of the cycle, part of the flow. Ernest Holmes said, God is life, and life gives itself to us. It does not give some of itself, it gives all of itself. But the gift without a receiver cannot complete itself in individual life. He also said, it is impossible for you to receive that which your mind refuses to accept. If you desire to receive more, you need to consciously develop the ability to mentally encompass it. You make your life mean little and limit its possibilities when you refuse to accept the whole gift of God. There is so much here for us. And as we open ourselves to receiving more and more of the good of the God, life becomes easier, life becomes more love-filled, and life becomes more of what we want to share. We can recognize that something greater is the source of all that is. I loved, Melody, the way that you were talking about the grains of sand and the atoms and the molecules. And there is such an abundance in this universe. And it is all source, all God, showing up in various forms. But if we want the flow of abundance in our lives, more love, more joy, more health, more, all the good stuff, not just money, then we have to practice receiving generously. Receiving generously. So how are you at receiving? How are you at receiving? For some of us, we need some practice. Now, the good news is, as we practice, we can get better at it. As we practice receiving, then we get better at it, and that increases the flow. We can practice receiving open-heartedly. We can practice receiving compliments, gifts, anything that's offered. We don't have to say, oh, I don't deserve that, or, oh, you really shouldn't give me that, or, oh, this old thing, I've had it forever, We can receive compliments and gifts open-heartedly, knowing that we are part of the divine. And we can receive help when we need it. Is there anybody in here who has a little trouble receiving help? Okay, I didn't see any hands, so I guess it's just me, okay? Right. Sometimes it's hard to receive help, and that's another thing that we can open to receive open-heartedly. Brene Brown said, until we can receive with an open heart, we're never really giving with an open heart. When we attach judgment to receiving help, we knowingly or unknowingly attach judgment to giving help. Now, most of us were taught as kids way more about the importance of giving than the importance of receiving, right? some of us just kind of got in the habit of not being able to receive very well. And habits are hard to break. Do you know that? I mean, have you experienced that habits are about to break?
Yes.
So here's a little story about that. There was a fire in a convent, and there were some nuns on the third floor that were trapped, and they were not sure what they were going to do, and so of course they immediately went into prayer, beseeching the divine to give them some way to get out of this fire safely. And so one of the nuns received a download from the divine, and she said, what we have to do is we have to take off our habits and tie them all together and make a rope, and then we can climb down and we will be safe. And they did, and they were safe. And then later they were being interviewed by a reporter, and the reporter said, well, weren't you afraid that the rope that you created might not hold? And they said, absolutely not. Old habits are hard to break. So, old habits are hard to break, but we can learn to accept open-heartedly if we stay open to receive. Ernest Holmes said, no matter how abundantly the horn of plenty may pour out its universal gifts, there must be a bowl of acceptance, a chalice of expectancy, or the gift cannot be complete. We have to receive in order to, we have to open in order to receive, and there must be a bowl of acceptance. Now, Mary and I are very blessed to have some very spiritual bowls. I don't know if you can all see them. They're nested bowls. There are 11 of them, and they're good for everything. But they're also good as spiritual reminders because, we only get what we are willing to open to. If you're willing to open to just this much that'll fit in this little bowl, this much good from God, this much abundance, this much love, this much joy, if that's all I'm willing to open to, that's all I'm going to get. Now, might be open to a little bit more. If this is it, if I'm still not really wide open to receive, if this is all I'm open to, this is all the universe can give me. I mean, it is always giving it, but without me to receive, it doesn't do much good. So we've got all of these ways that we can absolutely open to the universe. It's kind of like being at a banquet where a dessert banquet. I made it a dessert banquet. I like desserts, but we can have all that you can have all that you want, but you have to take your bowl. You have to take your bowl. Mm-hmm. So, what size bowl are you going to take? You're going to take kind of a little one because when you were a kid, you were taught that it's greedy to take all you want. You're going to take a little bit bigger one, but this still isn't the perfect size. You want a little more than this, right? Yeah. But maybe you're afraid of the judgments of other people, what other people might think. So I don't want to take too much. What will they think of me? Now, some people take the big bowl. Hey, here's a big bowl. So that they can take it all back to their table, and they'll have plenty of dessert for everybody at the table. And some, I think this bowl sounds just about right. I want this much, and I can enjoy every bite of it without worrying about being greedy, without worrying about taking too much or what other people will think. So it's just amazing to me to be able to use these bowls as a way to absolutely remember that we get to choose. We create our lives, as Park's saying, and we get to choose every day with every thought. We live in an amazingly abundant universe. God is big. Mm-hmm. How big is your God? How big is your God? This size. Because if we don't have faith and trust that all that we desire is being given, then we're not going to open to it and we're not going to get it. We can expand our sense of God. We can expand our sense of spirit. We can expand our sense of the abundance of the universe and how it is here for us, not only to take for ourselves, but of course to share. Because that's part of the fun of having lots of dessert. You can share it with other people. Part of the global vision for our organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, is this. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. Now, we believe this is possible because we believe we live in an abundant universe, right? An abundant universe? Well, we have to look at that question of how big is my God? How much abundance do I really believe is out there for me? Abundance of love and joy and health. And we're not just talking money here because we know that there is so much that adds to the richness of life for each of us. Staying open and receptive to the givingness of the divine. It's like an invitation to the universe, because the universe can give us even more than we can imagine. Even more than we can imagine if we're open to it. I love this quote by William T. Pearson. God will do abundantly, exceedingly above all that I ask or think. Because I honor her, her blessings will chase me down and overtake me.
I love it.
Yeah, don't you just love that? We honor God by being open to receive. And we honor God by being able to be the one who's going to be chased down by the blessings of the divine. I'm not going to run very fast, personally. I want to get caught by all those blessings. Yeah, So I am totally grateful for that. So what is it that your heart desires more of? More wisdom? Health? Companionship? Joy? Material abundance? To look at our readiness to receive takes a willingness to be searchingly honest with ourselves. Searchingly honest. Now, for example, if you're wanting to open up to greater money abundance, financial abundance, what's your first thought? Is it, when you think about opening up and receiving it, is it like, yes, bring it on? Or does your mind do that kind of thing where it says, well, I can't have it because I don't know exactly how it's going to come. I don't know how it's going to show up. So, it's probably not going to happen. Or I shouldn't try to get more of whatever it is because if I get more, there won't be enough for everybody else. Or our minds can do the things about, I don't really deserve it because I haven't worked hard enough. Or I don't have enough education, or blah, 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 blah. Our minds can just absolutely make up stuff. But there's only one source of good in all of the universe, and that source is God. The universe, the divine essence, the stuff that everything is made of and is waiting for us to co-create with our thoughts and our beliefs, with our words and our actions. So how do we open to more good in our lives? Well, right now, and we're going to do this kind of quick, I want you to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Just 3 things that you're grateful for. First 3 things that come off the top of your head.
Family. Clean water.
Yeah. Now, think of 3 things that you would like to share. Now, this can be material or otherwise. 3 things that you would like to share. Think about those 3 things. Quick. Okay, congratulations. You have just opened to receive more good in your life. We do it by being grateful. We do it by having the intention to share our love, our good, our all that it is that we want to share. And so as we do that on a regular basis, the universe pays attention and says, ooh, I want to give her what she wants to share. I want to give her more of that. I want to give him what he's already grateful for, because I know that will bring even more gratitude, even more joy to the world. So we do it with our gratitude. We do it with our intention to share. In lots of other ways, of course. Because when we want to share, we do that from a feeling of enoughness. And that feeling of enoughness is the most powerful feeling there can be as far as moving into abundance. That feeling that, oh my goodness, I have so much I can share. I have so much I can share. And isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? So what would you, each of you individually, like to have so much of that you have that feeling of sharing? Just kind of get your answer silently. What do you want more of to be able to share? Okay, imagine that good being yours now. Feel it. Imagine that you can see it and hear it, that you can taste it and smell it, that you can walk with it, that you can be blessed by it. Imagine that it is yours. And go ahead. Be grateful for it in advance. Know that you don't have to wait until you actually see it to be grateful. You can be grateful for it right now. And that will help the manifestation. That will open you up. And then, if you really want to crank it up, at the end of the service, our practitioners will be in front for prayer, for spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. And they will hold for you the knowing of truth. They will know for you that you are abundant, that you have an abundant amount of love and money and joy and opportunities and a feeling of purpose in your life, or whatever it is you want. Prayer is powerful. So life is all about flow. Spiritually and materially, of course. The basic principle of giving and receiving, of tides coming in and tides going out, that is effective all over our planet, all over our universe. And if we want to participate in that in a really rich way, we get to stay open to receive. Stay open to receive. So I offer you this challenge for the week. This week, notice all that is being offered to you and welcome it with openness and gratitude. Pay attention to what's being offered to you and welcome it with gratitude. And also, meditate on what it means to receive. and on the gift that you give to others when you receive. Because that is the most basic. As you give, you receive. I mean, to be able to have that energy happening. Now, before we move into prayer, I want to do this abundance again. Now, did anyone not get one of these? If so, the ushers have some, I think. Anyone need one? If you do, raise your hand. Okay, great. Well, I've got it up here again anyway. So let's say this together. I am open to receive all the universe has to offer. Once more. I am open to receive all the universe has to offer. Let's take that into prayer as practitioners stand in high consciousness. I absolutely know that there is one power, one intelligence, one source of everything in the universe. We can call it God, we can call it life, we can call it the divine. Whatever we call it does not matter. It is all the same thing. It is that very essence from which everything is made. It is the essence of each idea that has ever been created. It is the essence of each thing that has ever been invented. The essence of each person, each animal, the sky, the clouds, the buildings, the chairs. It's all God in form. And it's so powerful for me to remember that that's what I am made of. That's the very breath that breathes me, the life that lives me. And as I know that is true for me, I know it is true for each one hearing my voice. I know it is true for each one beyond. I know that it's true for everyone. And so knowing that I get to co-create with the divine, that I get to speak my word and have the law, that part of God that responds, I get to speak my word and have that respond. I simply claim blessings, blessings, blessings for all those who have been affected by mass shootings, by hatred of any kind, by despair. Blessings and comfort for those who have been left bereft. Blessings and comfort for the leaders of our country. And I claim that there is a dissolving of hatred, that there is a new love, a new respect, a new civility that is arising around us, within each of us, within our thoughts. And that together we create something that is new, something that is life-filled. And so I know for each person here, for each person hearing my voice, that as we go forward, we open to receive. Throughout the week, we are given absolute, clear, and tangible reminders that Spirit is here for us, that the universe is here for us, that we can open our hearts and open our minds, co-create with the divine, and move forward in greater love, greater joy, greater abundance. So knowing that we are all blessed, I am grateful, grateful, grateful. And so I let this go. I let it be, and I invite you to say with me, and so it is.
I am open in my life to receive. I am open in my life because I believe all the joy and love and blessings I can receive wholeheartedly. I am open to receive. Just sing, I am